I think a little bit of me is probably surprised that Kevin Harvick and Denny Hamlin both have plus numbers.
And that's the first thing that sticks out to you is that you got a plus line on Kevin Harvick, where normally this would be a place you could put him as a minus. I mean, you look at last year, he broke that streak of 20 races that he hadn't won, and he came here and won the race. The year before he won the race, then he blew up. The year before that, he had a big crash, finished 36th, but then 5th and 1st. So he's been 1st, 5th, a crash, 1st. If there's ever a time to be a minus number in the top 3, this is the week for Kevin Harvick.
And a year ago, I think we saw Kyle Busch, when he was quite dominant, having some negative lines on the top 3. Well, I think Kevin Harvick and Denny Hamlin are every bit as dominant this year as Kyle Busch was last year. So it really surprises me. Even Denny Hamlin, I think you could make a case for Denny Hamlin to be on a negative number or at least even.
Yeah, those two right there. I mean, you look at Denny's last 4 races, a win, 12th, 13th, and a 2nd. So, I mean, Denny, though, this is the type of place that he's really been running strong lately. He's liking these flat tracks. I look at Denny Hamlin and say, you know what, you want a return that, I'm not going to say it's a guaranteed return, but there's a reason why if it's a plus line on Kevin Harvick right now, I almost am going to take that for a top 3.
One thing I heard Denny say, I think in an interview, it might have been this week, he said, I don't know if I'm a better racer. He said, but I know I'm a smarter racer. And, Denny Hamlin's always been a good racer. Denny Hamlin has not always been a smart racer. Denny Hamlin becoming a good racer and a smart racer, look out.
No, and he proved that to get to Homestead last year. He's definitely shown that he has matured, that he has definitely settled down in his mind a little bit, how to get through these rounds and stages and deal with the ups and downs of a season. But right now, look, 5 races to 4 races, Denny Hamlin versus Kevin Harvick. They've won 9 of the 18 races. Is it 18 yet?
Let's see. We've got to get to 26. We got 7 to go. So, 19 races.
Yeah, I mean, they've won 50% of the time, basically,
right.
Kevin Harvick and Denny Hamlin. So right now they've got it going. Having them on a plus line, that's not a bad shot. But I want to talk about Matt DiBenedetto. He's down there at 12-1 to be a top 3. And, Jeff, Matt DiBenedetto last year when he went to Levine, 5th place finish in this race. And I don't know if you remember at the end, he was running in a mix with Kevin and did got kind of shuffled, and he had a chance to win this race.
He absolutely did. And I don't know, Brendan, do you consider New Hampshire a short track? Because I think Matt DiBenedetto has become a really adept short track racer. And I kind of view New Hampshire as a little bit of a short track. And I think that kind of plays into his hands.
It is a short track. The way you have to brake, the way you have to watch out for the rear wheel hop, the way you have to watch out for sliding front brakes, the way that this racetrack handles, it is the biggest short track you're going to be on. And Matt DiBenedetto is doing really well on those type of tracks this year. Anybody
else that jumps out at you before we move into the driver head-to-heads?
Just the same usual suspects to me. I'm looking at the Eric Almirola's, the Eric Joneses. Those guys up there, I think they can get it. But Matt Kenseth also 12-1. I said this is a guy that can win the race, and there he is sitting at a 12-1 for a top 3. So I do like those.
Yeah, I kind of like those. I like that too with Matt Kenseth. All right, let's move into the driver head-to-heads a little bit. I'm going to tell you there's a couple things that surprise me here. I think we've talked a number of times on this show that until Kyle Busch proves something to us,
Bet the dope.
Well, and that's kind of what I'm looking at right now. I mean, I'm looking at Ryan Blaney's plus 130 against Kyle Busch. And look, throw out some of the records on Ryan Blaney from past years. Ryan Blaney's having the best year of his career. He's adapting to racetracks better this year. It's another year of experience. And Ryan Blaney plus 130 against Kyle Busch is minus 150. That one comes roaring off the page at me. Brad Keselowski also at plus 130 against Kyle Busch, right minus 150. That's a couple of those right there that just, I'm telling you, they kind of surprised me.
Look, right now, Ryan Blaney, to your point, 9th, 7th, and 4th in his last 3 races. So, I mean, he is really good at New Hampshire. And putting him on a plus line, I'm betting the don't. I'm basically not betting on Ryan Blaney. I'm betting against Kyle Busch. But I love that Brad Keselowski number. Finished 2nd last week. Brad Keselowski is really good here at New Hampshire. I think that Brad, even though he's not as flashy right now as Kevin or as Denny, has been good enough to be in that conversation. I like that. And I also like Eric Almirola, plus 110 versus Chase Elliott at a minus 130. Chase Elliott has not been in the same conversation as Eric Almirola lately.
No, he hasn't. You're exactly right. And I actually, we've got, and if you're watching us on VSiN right now, there's 3 matchups there involving Hendrick cars. Now, Elliott is a Hendrick car against the Stewart-Haas car there. But we've also got a matchup there where Jimmy Johnson is favored over Alex Bowman. And then we've got an Alex Bowman-William Byron matchup.
I'm not touching that one.
But do you really think Alex Bowman should be the underdog at plus 105 against Jimmy Johnson at minus 125?
He's a slim underdog. Plus 105 is a pretty lean number, especially when you got Jimmy at minus 125. But I would put that more of a pick 'em. Almost maybe Alex Bowman should be a minus 105. So I think that's another glaring one to me that's a plus line return that you could make an argument that Alex Bowman should not be that big of an underdog to how not well Jimmy Johnson's been running lately. And Bowman last 3 races, 14th, 11th, and 14th. So not terrible. I mean, better than Jimmy's last 3 races there, which, Jimmy's last 3, 14th, 10th, and 30th. So about equal, I guess.
Yeah, and one, it's just kind of interesting because it's up there. Denny Hamlin against Kevin Harvick.
Kevin Harvick.
Now,
I don't know why it's that big of a swing.
That's a big number, plus 130. I mean, that's basically saying, well, Harvick's going to win the race. Everybody's running for second. It's kind of what that tells me.
They got Harvick minus 150 to Denny Hamlin plus 130. And right next door, you have Denny Hamlin minus 150 to Brad Keselowski's plus 130. So you have some head-to-head matchups that have some very strange-looking numbers. But Kevin Harvick being a minus 150 to Denny's, it's worth it to jump on. I mean, that's a tough one, but it's worth it to jump on Denny.
Yeah, it is. And one thing I want to point out to everybody is that New Hampshire is a track where qualifying can sometimes be important. Starting position can be very important because it is not easy to pass. There'll be a draw for qualifying. So don't put your bets in until you're completely sure of what the qualifying order is. All right, we're going to talk about our group matchups when Brendan and I come back.